it turns out that reincarnation is part of the story, that it's real. Everybody reincarnates, and for some weird genetic process
I'm
that we
just
don't
going to
yet
talk less
understand,
and
your face will look the
click
same as
faster.
faces you had before. Personality transparency says alive and thriving. Yeah, that's definitely part of it. So what do you do when you learn about so much evil? Well, you want to go towards the good. You definitely don't want to play along with the evil even a little bit.
What's up here?
Because, again, the evil is trying to get you to authorize your own death. So one of the things Uncle Jack told me is that the evil has to manipulate you into becoming more selfish, more greedy, to screw people over, to rob people, to be a sexual predator. And the more of that kind of stuff that you do, the more the evil can affect you, and you will get bad karma. You will have disasters, car crashes, horrible accidents, horrible injuries to your physical body, and there's really nothing you can do about it. That's the law of karma. So if you're foolish enough to play around with this evil, you will get hurt. And if you're foolish enough to mess around with demons, usually you will end up being tortured by them. That's just gonna happen. You can't avoid it. So Edgar Cayce was this psychic who created 14,000 medical readings, very, very powerful stuff. And you look at the two faces, it's like, holy crap. I mean, look at the brow, look at the shape of the nose, look at the shape of the lips. The jawline is very similar. The eyes, of course, are very, very similar. It's just astounding. And this is not uncommon. This is what everybody has. Plus, there's a really amazing natal astrology match. The positions of the planets when I was born are the closest match to Edgar Cayce in 157 or 127 years, I forget which, after his death. And when Cayce was doing his readings, 14,000 medical readings, he'd be deep under trance. He'd speak on behalf of this Christian angelic presence. It would speak as a we, and it diagnosed people's medical problems with no front loading. You didn't know anything about the person except their name and address, and yet it would say what their problems were, and it would provide unique treatments for them. So this is no joke. This is actually the real thing. And in some of Cayce's readings, he levitated off the table, and as his voice spoke, the whole room would shake with this incredible sound, and it would say, bow thine heads, ye servants of men, and it would identify itself as Archangel Michael. So, no pressure, being the reincarnation of the guy who could levitate and shake the walls with his voice. I realized right away that if Cayce could do it, then obviously Jesus had the ability as well. We're not saying Cayce was better than Jesus. We're not saying Archangel Michael's better than Jesus. But if you read the Bible, Archangel Michael is Jesus' highest angel, tasked with the utter and complete defeat of Satan. So if Cayce was channeling that source, that's pretty exciting. And then in my case, in 1999, I found out that Archangel Michael was the source that was speaking through me. And so it's not just me. There's actually 35 different ancient traditions that have all predicted that there's going to be some type of amazing event that triggers us into ascension. When this ascension happens, the evil is completely destroyed. There's no more demons. There's no more Draco reptilians. There's no more grays. There's no more insectoids. Even one person who has ascended fully can defeat all of those beings. There's no way those beings can fight against it. And they know this. So the negative is working very, very hard to prevent us from ascending. It's doing everything it possibly can to stop this from happening because it knows that once it does, not only do all the alien beings that are here get defeated, but all the demons in the Earth's inner planes get defeated as well, or they transform and become human, is really usually what's going to happen. So 35 different ancient traditions all talked in various ways about a 25,000-year cycle that is written into the physics of our solar system. And at the end of the cycle, the sun has a flash, and we go through this amazing metamorphosis that is the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. Jesus says in John 14:12, as I do these miracles, as I do these things, so shall you do them, and greater things. Greater miracles than Jesus? Okay, you got feeding 5,000 people with one loaf of bread, one fish. You got turning water into wine. You got walking on water, raising Lazarus from the dead, levitation, the voice of power. That's why they called him the Lion of Judah, because he would roar like a lion, casting out demons. Greater powers than Jesus? Yeah, that's what Jesus told you to expect. You will do greater things than I have done, for I go unto my Father, Mother God. Turns out there's 35 different written ancient religious traditions that all predict that there's going to be some solar emanation and that this is what's going to happen. And it appears the year, according to Michael, is 2025. So you remember this from last week? Vicky Verma, who's a really great UFO researcher, says full disclosure this year was planned decades ago. This is a video from the year 1999, ironically, right in the same year that we're doing this time loop now. Because again, I have these tapes. There was 21 tapes that I never transcribed back in the day until 2006. They didn't end up in Michael Prophecies. They're right in here. And now, these tapes are actually prophetic of our present. And if you haven't been watching the show, I'm reading these week after week. And they are dazzlingly time looping the present. They know everything that's going on. They know that 47 won in November. They know about the Alliance in very copious detail. And everything the Alliance is doing is going to lead to the exposure of evil, and then that in turn creates people really freaking out, praying to God, getting on their hands and knees, praying to Jesus, praying to Mother Mary, begging for forgiveness. God, please save me. God, please help me. I had no idea this evil existed. It's so terrifying. Please help me. Please save me. And when enough people do that, that's called a calling, and it allows these positive angelic beings to return. And that's what we're expecting to happen in 2025. Michael was telling me this in the readings from 1999, 98, 96, and 2000. So here in 1999 is just another data point. This guy's name is Jim Goodall. On classified programs in Groom Lake, he says there's a lot of things going on, and I won't be able to tell you what really happened until 2025. Well, the Groom Lake Insider said, I can't disclose the truth until 25. And so that's Jim Goodall right there. And then they focus on that number 25. They keep looping it in the video. But this is very, very interesting. 2025 is this year. And so all of the events that we're seeing in the world right now are meant to expose this evil that is so much more hideous and so much worse than anybody would ever want to believe is possible. But again, the reason why people do this is that they get results. You're not going to engage in a behavior over and over again, especially one that's highly criminal, that could get you arrested or the death penalty. You're not going to keep doing that unless you're getting something out of it, unless you're getting a payoff. And the payoff is that it really works, and there really are entities that appear in the room, and they will talk to you, and they will guide you to become more evil and more powerful. This is all really true. So it's quite a phenomenon for these people to play around with this stuff and see this supernatural manifestation of evil. And people get addicted to it, and they keep doing it, and it's really, really sad because, you know, you're wasting your whole life, and you're going to need lifetimes of karma to pay off to make up for the things, the atrocities that you end up committing. So again, once the solar flash happens, the negative is done on Earth, and sometimes it's been called a solar belch, or here's a funny meme. It's a seal, and it says, when you fart and the pain in your stomach goes away. So you could think of it like a big solar gas release, a big solar fart. It's not the most, noble way of describing it, but I saw that meme and I'm like, I got to put that in there somewhere. And now you're seeing memes like this of 47. Yes, glowing eyes is one of the technologies of Ascension. It's one of the things that we will be able to do. I think we all know this innately within ourselves. So these themes keep showing up in our allegedly fictional work. So the point is, nothing is as it seems as we're heading towards this mass arrest or the event, whatever you want to call it. We're in backward world. Everything's upside down. Today, every day is upside down day. So one of the weird clues was, why didn't he put his hand on the Bible? And if you don't believe me, here's the picture. There's his wife with the two Bibles in her hands, and he's swearing in, and his hand is not on it. So what the heck is going on here? Well, this implies, again, that everything you are seeing is a movie, and that maybe the reason why he didn't do that is that he's already been sworn in, that we're not dealing, this wasn't real. This whole thing was a setup for the people, what happened in November, but it's not, we have other laws, we have military laws in effect, and there's very different stuff going on than what we thought. So if you haven't already been following this, I've been blessed and cursed with being Archangel Michael's modern-day messenger. It's a very difficult path. I've been completely, impoverished for over 3 years since my divorce, living in this 8 months a year. It's like being in a Siberian isolation. One of the greatest punishments, if not the greatest punishment you can give somebody in prison, is solitary confinement. I've been solitary for over 3 years now in a Siberian climate. And, with hardly any money at all, just barely enough money for food. Sometimes I don't eat enough food because I don't have enough money for food. Right now, thankfully, that's not happening, but it has happened off and on. And I'm too busy also. That's another reason I'm just not going to the grocery store. So you guys and these donations, yeah, okay, maybe they're getting 40%, but whatever. You guys have been keeping me alive. So thank you, Ed Creeder. Thank you, Roger Zabarik. Thank you, Krista Litchins. Thank you, Tarotina. Thank you to so many of you who have helped, and I really am very appreciative of that. 5,600 people watching live. So again, why didn't he put his hand on the Bible? Because this was a movie. This is not, there's something else that we're going to learn about, and even again, maybe the cabinet, and maybe who got chosen for various positions, it could all get rearranged once they do this big reveal. In the inauguration ceremony, there were multiple references to the Golden Age, which, again, the Alliance seems to be very aware of what I'm saying and doing, and they're highly supportive of it, and Michael is helping them. And these time loops that I'm telling you about are all talking about what the Alliance is doing and saying, yes, once they arrest the negative, once they bring them to justice, once the public learns how evil it really is, everybody starts crying, everybody gets on their knees, everybody prays, and the next thing you know, that changes the game and authorizes this galactic family reunion in 2025. So somehow we get a non-catastrophic solar event. It's not going to create pole shift. That would have only happened if Jesus' mission hadn't worked and we were too evil. So you get this non-catastrophic solar event and everybody starts to have these massive new abilities. But some people are going to ascend faster and more dramatically than others. The readings keep telling us over and over again. The Michael readings tell us over and over again that this year, some people are going to get highly activated and start having Christ-like abilities. They keep saying that again and again and again. And so there's multiple references to the Golden Age that we saw in the inauguration and thereafter. And another very interesting thing is that the Capitol, the U.S. Capitol, which is this, in case you're wondering what I'm talking about, there's that pointy part in the middle, that's called the rotunda, okay? So again, he was sworn in under the Capitol rotunda, and what you may not know is that there is an image of George Washington as an ascended being on a rainbow at the top. So if you look at it from the outside, you can see it looks like there's 3 major layers of the dome, and then at the top there's a big statue. That would, I guess, be George Washington, and then under that is a small Greek-looking round room. In the middle of that rotunda, if you look at it from the inside, you tilt your head up. I don't know who that is in the sculpture there. That might be Jefferson. I'm not sure. It might be Washington. But anyway, you look up there, and what you see is this dome, and it's very beautiful, all these squares. And then if you look straight up, this is what you see. So now what we're going to do, you see all the windows. Those are the windows in the rotunda. And in the middle is this painting. Yeah, there's a painting like the Sistine Chapel. Let's push in on that a little bit more. Okay, so we're looking at it sideways now, but you can see that there's a woman with an American shield there. She's got a sword, and you got George Washington under something that looks like the sun, and he's on a rainbow. So let's tilt it sideways. This is a full-color rendering of what it looks like. And so he is on a rainbow, and that represents that he has become an ascended being. He is now with the angels. Remember, 47 was inaugurated underneath this artwork that is a secret part of American tradition. So there he is on his rainbow with the angels. He has now become an ascended being. That's what America was for. That's why we value freedom. Freedom is a very important part of ascension, the free will of the human being. So here's another picture of it, which gives you a much better view of the detail, where you can see the woman with the American shield. She's got the American eagle next to her. And there's that rainbow again, goes all the way across. And now George Washington is lighter than air. He is sitting on a cloud. He is an ascended being. He is on the rainbow. So the founding fathers were obviously Freemasons. It isn't all bad. At the time, it wasn't. I mean, now it's probably pretty sketchy, but back then, they had to use the secret society to maintain their secrecy, not infiltrated by the negative over time. But they knew about these prophecies of this coming solar flash golden age. So Washington on a rainbow symbolizes his activation of what the Tibetans call the rainbow body. This is the conclusion of human evolution, at least in the biological stage. You now can levitate, which means you could sit on a rainbow, you could sit on a cloud, you can fly. You have a stunning ascended abilities. You can shoot lightning out of your hands. You can shoot lightning out of your eyes. It is very, very exciting stuff. And so superhero legends like Superman and then all the other superheroes that you've seen, these are all reflections of the kind of abilities that we're going to have. The ability to fly, the ability to have telekinesis, Star Wars with a Jedi, you know, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi is killed. If you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you can imagine. He comes back as a glowing being of light. That hits the ascension prophecy right on the nose. So these negative philosophies believe that they are going to be the ones to receive this. They are going to become the light beings. They are going to be gods. They will dominate over the rest of us. That's actually not true. These are Christian prophecies. These are Muslim prophecies. These are Buddhist prophecies. These are Hindu prophecies. 35 ancient traditions all saying we are going to become ascended beings. Michael is confirming this, and he says that in 2025, we get the non-catastrophic solar event, we get an ascension type of experience, and we get a galactic family reunion where these angelic beings from all over the cosmos now return. And not only do we get to meet them, which is going to be incredible, but we get to visit their cities and their ships, which are way better than anything we've got. So there's some very, very exciting stuff going on in the future. Again, the rainbow body symbolized by George Washington, and they swore him in underneath that painting while making multiple references to the Golden Age. As we were talking about last week, the secret translation of this is golden race. So, is this new administration going to deliver on anything, or is it just going to be more of, oh, you know, nothing ever really changed, as business as usual? No, they're definitely going to deliver. How do you know? Well, on the 19th, we heard that he's planning on releasing all of the JFK files. That was this one right here. He dropped a bombshell. This is an Alliance post. You can find it on X by looking for that. Announcing his plan to release every single file. It's all going to be released. This massive disclosure, notice they use those words, are also going to include files for RFK, MLK, and other unspecified figures of significant historical interest, and he promises it will happen in the coming days. And then they also set it up on the 14th with this strange leaked audio recording of Clifton Carter, a DNC executive director, close associate of LBJ, implicating that LBJ was the one who ordered the assassination. The recording suggests that LBJ did the whole thing, that Mac Wallace was the guy who actually did it. I don't know if you've ever heard that name. I hadn't heard that name before. This is an unusual timing, given that we are apparently going to get the entire files declassified. Now look at this. Before his untimely death, JFK was working to have said group register as a foreign agent. This new theory, which was leaked by somebody, shifts the blame from said country, and places it on LBJ. So said country, again, I pray for them. I wish for their healing. The people are not bad people. I don't believe in any type of weird conspiracy like that everybody's in on something. That's just ridiculous. But at the top levels of this leadership, going back for decades and decades, apparently this is kind of the heart of darkness. There's been some really nasty stuff going on. And again, I'm totally willing to forgive everything, and let's just get a turnover and a healing going on, you know. But the Alliance keeps making this point over and over again. Right now, it's just hearsay. It's an allegation. We don't have proof of anything, but it would appear that the DS, as we've been calling it, is very strongly affiliated with this, and this is their line that they must not cross. They cannot allow these documents to be read by people, because when that comes out, they will be implicated and it's game over. And so if they're going to do a Project Bluebeam, they'll probably do it before this happens. Well, let's talk about that a little bit more. As I was just saying, the release of these files would be the final red line for the DS, the point of no return. Everybody's going to go, oh my God, wait a minute. These guys were the ones that ordered that assassination, these other assassinations. These guys are doing all this crazy stuff. Well, there definitely needs to be a turnover in leadership there. Let's get some people in who are not evil, so they can be healed. That's what I want. You probably want the same thing. I would hope you do. So, you know, I got nothing against the country. It's just like they need a healing, and there's been some really crazy stuff going on. So, if the release of these files is their final red line, then they're probably going to hit really big before the files emerge on February 6th. So let's talk about some other stuff that's going on. We're going to come back to February 6th and why is it that date. Another shocking thing that you may or may not have seen is that 3 different major health agencies have now been ordered to stop all communications. They're federally enjoined against communication. If somebody's suing you, you go through a litigation hold, which means they say, do not delete any of your documents, preserve all your documents, because they're going to be used in discovery. So here what we're seeing is, let's start on the bottom. It says, just in, well, he says he has ordered a blackout at these health agencies. They cannot publish scientific reports, update their websites, or issue health advisories for now, which could include masking, could include lockdowns. Who knows what the hell it would be. Oh, there's some new thing. Well, now they can't. They're literally not allowed by federal law to say anything. That's huge. I mean, just try to stop and think for a minute about how huge that is. These major agencies are completely blocked from saying a word. So Wyatt here speculates it means he was likely made aware that these agencies were planning to sabotage him by making several quick announcements. They were probably going to issue some sort of health scare or something of the sort, and this federal order has likely sabotaged all of that. I believe this is true, but that's not all. We also see that the money is being cut off. These were 2 posts from Insider Paper. He will not impose tariffs on said country if they become our 51st state. I know people are really, really freaked out. Some people, we've had them in the comments, oh my God, you know, there's a lot of national pride. I get that. I'm just reporting on it. I don't even know if I have an opinion yet. But the idea is that they're getting hundreds of billions of dollars a year. They're being supported, and, you know, he's not going to impose tariffs as long as they're willing to go along with this. Now, we've heard for years that there might be a reunification of North America. That's nothing new. Then we also see Rubio saying almost all U.S. money that we're sending to any countries is being stopped except for 2 countries. And, you know, one of those 2 countries, again, maybe there's a reason why they can't cut it off yet. It would be too catastrophic if they did that now, based on what we were just saying. Then on the 22nd, in their secret TG posting system, they say Project Bluebeam is near, and then I added, panic at your discretion. So this goes to this post. It says Project Bluebeam is near. Near implies, obviously, not too far away. So let's click on that link. It says, you can read the text on the bottom. Multiple current and former senior members of the U.S. government military intelligence community claim to have direct knowledge of aliens and non-human beings. They are set to reveal an 80-year cover. Let's read the rest now. Let's click on it. Here's what we're going to see. This is now on Twitter. 80-year cover-up of intelligent non-human life and a secret global race among nations to reverse engineer this technology. It's being hailed as the greatest discovery in human history. Wow. That is so exciting to me. That's everything that my show is about. And as I've said many times, I believe that the major part of the alliance is behind 47 is the group that has this technology that did reverse engineering. They have capability for surveillance that's way beyond anything we can compete with quantum surveillance technology. There's no way you can stop them from hearing what you have to say if they want to hear what you have to do. This is extremely exciting because I covered the alliance, and now they totally emerged from the cosmic closet and said, yep, this is the way it's going down. We're going to get a disclosure, and this apparently is coming out in some type of a film with multiple insiders coming forward. Then, the very next day after they said Bluebeam is near, the very next day, folks, they gave a 15-day window for the release of these files that are apparently going to implicate said country. And here it was, as a headline, Thursday, January 23rd, signing an executive order releasing all the files. A lot of people have been waiting for this for years, decades, and everything will be revealed. That means the D-Day, if you count 15 days after the 23rd, is Thursday, February 6th. That is not far away at all. So we may actually get our Bluebeam Blues before February the 6th. Because again, once the information comes out, it's game over. The cat's out of the bag. So you better believe I'm excited, folks. We are not going to continue sitting around twiddling our thumbs waiting for something to happen. And then even better, this is so mind-blowing. Right at the same time, we find out the Department of Defense is going dark for, wait for it, 10 days. And this was I learned this from our own Krista Litchens. And she says, "Hi, David, I will be there." And then she links to this. It is dasting. I don't know what dasting means. Dashing or fantastic. I don't know what. Something went wrong with that word. But anyway, the DoD just announced they are going dark for, wait for it, 10 days. So here's the actual document. You can see right at the top, it's Office of the Secretary of Defense from the Pentagon, stamped with the stamper, January 24th, 2025, memorandum for senior Pentagon leadership, commanders of combatant commands, Defense Agency and DoD field activity directors, in order to refocus communications for the DoD around the Commander-in-Chief's priority of reorienting the department around core missions of keeping America safe, fielding the most lethal force on the planet, and fighting and winning wars. All DoD components will adhere to the following temporary social media guidance. Wait for it. Social media posts from official accounts at all levels of the department are temporarily suspended for 10 days, effective January 25, 2025, which even kind of hints at the importance of the number 25. We're in that magic year, 2025. Everybody has to stop saying anything on social media for exactly 10 days, starting on January 25th, which brings us right to February 4th, which is literally only 2 days before the release of these files. Oh my God. And if you want to read the rest, you want to pause a little bit. I don't have time to do it all. But it says, inform service members, military families, veterans, base partners, visitors about activities, da-da-da-da-da. So it does not apply to normal base installation activities. Stephanie Simonson says, "Can you believe it, David? Everything you've been saying for years is right here in our headlines. Love and grateful for the work you've been dedicated to for so long." Yes, it's very exciting, you guys. This is the 10 days of darkness, as I was saying. And so, whoops, let me get onto that slide. This is the 10 days of darkness from posts 88 and 97. So let's look at that really quick while we're here. Post 88, it says 10 days darkness, scare tactics. Now, again, this appears to be our original interpretation was the 10 days of darkness was how long it would take for the top people to be rounded up, and they're probably going to offer violent resistance. And so as a result of that violent resistance, make sure the hair's wild enough as we're talking about this stuff. Just get it really nice and wild, okay. That's a little too much. I think we're going over the top now. We don't want it quite that wild. We got to keep it somewhat reserved. It's not a military haircut. I am not a typical ally of the military with this kind of wild hair. Let the purge begin, says Alive and Thriving. Absolutely. Bot purge, specifically. So, all the way back when Peterson was telling me about what they were going to do with the arrests in 2009, he said it might take a period of time, perhaps 10 days. Because, there's going to be people shooting at them. There's going to be soldiers at the front of the building that don't want you going in there. They're going to do everything they can. They're going to try to create, apparently, the Bluebeam event, scare us with a fake alien invasion. They want to do riots in the streets. All this kind of crazy stuff is stuff that they want to do to try to stop this event from taking place. And I do believe that, folks. So it's really, really wild. And the posts, again, have referred to this 10 days of darkness. So it shows up in 88, and they say media is using scare tactics. The D's are falling. The R's will either walk away or be removed because there are bad seeds on both sides. And they're talking about how Saudi was at the head of this whole thing, then the US, then Asia, then Europe. It's in that order. Saudi had the most money, so they were really the ones in charge, which still, most people don't understand. They want to call it a European conspiracy. It's really not. And it says disinformation is real, distractions are necessary. Then we have this other post, which again was 97, okay? Allison Carr, thank you for the donation. Post 97, disinformation exists and is necessary. 10 days, darkness, war, good versus evil. And then there was another one, which may or may not be related, but again, good versus evil, 10 days in darkness. This would apply the arrests. How long does that take? Another one showed up in 2726. Be alert for the next 10 days. Nasty attempts may be carried out to try to change the narrative and create negative optics. There's your Project Bluebeam, folks. Fake alien invasion. It's right in 2726, predictable. High possibility of an event that is so nasty that nobody's going to talk about anything else for multiple days, and the news will have to be paused. See something, say something. I do think you're going to see something, and it's going to be some type of weird alien attack. And again, are they going to let the clock run out? Oh yeah, let's just let the JFK files come out. No big deal. No. Dude, it might happen. So I'm in full tactical readiness. This is why there's no way I was going to miss doing the show today. I'm sorry I have to talk faster than I usually want to, but I got to get all this stuff out for you because again, I don't care if it takes 6 hours. We got to get this information put on public record. You need to hear what's going on. I'm up against death threats, terrorism, blackmail, extortion. Same thing that's happened to him. We have very similar karma, myself and 47 and me, using English properly. So yeah, I'm sorry if I'm not doing all my funny gay characters today, but like, you know, we really need to get through this stuff. And I'm already, you know, I wanted to be farther along at the 2-hour mark. Man, coming up on 2 hours. So we've been expecting 10 days of darkness, 10 days of darkness, 10 days of darkness. I've talked about it so many times. They've linked to it in so many other posts. And now we have the DOD going into darkness on social media for 10 days. Dude, if you can't figure out they're getting ready to do something, I don't know what to tell you, but there's even more. We're still not done with all this crazy evidence. Okay? So here's another one. You remember those 88,000 IRS agents? They want to kick in your door if you haven't paid your taxes, you're behind. They want to arrest you, seize your property, throw you in prison. Get a load of this, dude. Leading report says breaking. He has announced plans to either terminate nearly 88,000 of these new hires, or they will have to be reassigned to the border. It's so freaking great, isn't it? And April Newcomb has said, I'm so glad I didn't miss this live. Hello from Iowa. Love being first. Fantastic show today. Thank you for the awesome information. Dude, we're not even done. I mean, we're still, this is just the beginning of the show. It's just the beginning of the show. So, yeah, I mean, obviously being 7 figures in debt to the IRS, I'm totally sympathetic to, like, yeah, we don't want a bunch of these people with weapons, you know, taking down ordinary Americans who have been damaged by this evil agenda, because one of the things evil loves is to keep you bankrupt, because then you're always in pain. You can't have fun. You can't go see movies. You can't go on a vacation. You can't go to the restaurant. You can't buy new clothes and your clothes are falling apart. You can't fix your car when your car is broken. You may not have enough money to put the temperature up to 72. You may have to keep your heat at 68 during the winter. You may not be able to travel because you can't afford gasoline. Living in poverty frickin' sucks. Believe me, I know. I've been doing it for over 3 years now. If I was a grifter, then I'm not a very good one, because how did I end up so broke? And why don't I ever promote my own company on X? Well, again, Stavati Hero is, please go sign up for that, subscribe to that. That way, when we get trolled, you can write your own stuff so that it doesn't just look like we're hated by everybody, okay? Because that's what they want to do. If you don't care and they care more, that's a problem. All right, so this is huge. The 10 days of darkness, litigation hold on the health agencies. Is there anything else? Yeah, dude, we're still not done. Because it looks like they've already built a structure in front of the White House where this is all going to come to a head. Oh, you don't believe me? Oh, David, if you... No, wait a minute. Shannon Campbell posted this, and let's see, I can't really, oh yeah, so she had 2,600 likes, 155,000 views. When is he going to talk about this structure in his front yard? There it is up close. I mean, it's got lights hanging down so you can see that it could run during the night. It looks like there's surveillance cameras everywhere, and you can see there's like a lean-to or gazebo on the right where people could all be gathered in a group. This is exactly what you would expect to see as a setup for a trial where there are people watching the trial. So under the lean-to on the right would be all the world media and the cameras, and people are being prosecuted. Now, does it mean that anybody is going to receive the death penalty? Maybe not. I mean, it could be designed to scare them into thinking that, because maybe when they're scared of that, they're going to do more useful things that then get them in more trouble. I don't know if that's what's going to happen or not. They might just be getting prison sentences, but this would be a way to have people getting walked along the stage on either the top or the bottom row. Justice is being served. They go into their sentence, and it goes on from there. If you still don't believe me, this came out a few days ago. The General is another one of the Alliance sources that we can trust. And it says, and I quote, a large courthouse is under construction at GB where trials will be held and individuals will face accountability. Apparently it's not just GB, it's also the WH as well. Gary says yes, it could be turned into the gallows. Mindy Newman says wow. Cindy Mark says it is exciting. How long have I been waiting for this? Patience is a virtue. This is very, very exciting. So, yeah, and also Rosa Iverson says he's also announced regular income tax will be eliminated. Well, we don't know that for sure, but he has said that there's going to be an external revenue service and we'll get money from tariffs. So this is very exciting, you guys. I mean, 10 days of darkness has come true. They're not posting out of the DOD for 10 days. The health agencies are on litigation hold. There's this strange setup for trials in front of the White House. There's like, it's just freaking on like Donkey Kong. And we're going to get the truth about the JFK by February the 6th. And we're being told there's going to be a fake alien invasion, which means we're no longer alone in the universe. And it's no longer going to be, for some people, a laughing stock to talk about UFOs. Phil Kasubris, all these events may line up with our planetary alignment at the end of February. He donated $50, as you can see right there. Thank you very much, Phil Kasubris. So, dude, I am so excited. I don't even care if we talk for 7 hours, 8 hours, whatever it takes. I got to show you all of these things because so much stuff is going on right now. It is totally mind-blowing. So let's keep going. So then, boom, trials will be held. Individuals will face accountability. You're darn right. I cannot wait. Even people in California, the farthest of the far left city in America, I would say even more than New York, because, Madison Square Garden had a big rally. LA is probably the most far left you could ever get, but they are waking up. And this is why, because there was this huge fire. Whoops, sorry. That was just a little accident. Rental price gouging and scamming, fueling the flames, pun intended, for wildfire victims. It's a dire situation. Devastating for those who lost everything. They're all scrambling to find a place to rent. Last week, we heard that, in fact, the destroyed properties are being bought up way too cheaply. People are getting ripped off. Former investment banker Ross claims that these employees are already targeting homeowners with cash offers to buy their properties, that these fires did not occur in a natural way. Dams and hydrants could not have run dry unless somebody was interested in making that happen. They are exploiting the desperation of displaced residents, acquiring as many homes as possible, with even larger scale actions apparently on the horizon. And of course, what are they doing? They're fact-checking, insisting they are not purchasing anything. So there it is, and he's talking all about it. So here they are, doing their fact check. You can see that right there. We do not buy single-family homes. Continue to set the record straight. That's not what he's saying. It's just the opposite. And I had guessed in my show when we were talking about this, without any other information than psychic ability, I guess, that they'd come in somewhere between 10 and 20%, even though it's not really a loan, it's a purchase. It's still technically a bank loan that they would purchase your property with, so it is a loan.